All right, Garrett Blevins here with Form Assessment Saturday 12. It's been a while since I have been able to make one of these. As you can see, some of these posts are quite old, so thank you for the patience, those of you who have submitted for these. And if you want to get into the next Form Assessment Saturday, I will have an available thread at guidedprogramming.boards.net that you can go to. You can sign in for free. It does not cost any money, and you can post a link to you lifting. So first we got here is here's a squat single at 8, working on keeping knees forward, eliminating chest fall. Okay, got it. Let's take a look. All right, so first thing, taking your time setting up, that's good. Looks like you've got a pretty good neutral spine position here. 3-step walkout, small adjustments, pause here. All right. So one thing I'll say is I would like to see your knees locked a little bit more, and I would like to see your breathing and your bracing finish before you get into this position. You're already starting to put some of the tension of the weight into your muscles instead of using your bone structure to primarily support the lift. So I would like to see you brace and get ready first before you start any bending in the knees. All right, so the first thing you do, I think you start a little bit jerky. So as you start here, you immediately brace back and up. I can see that you're really trying to keep that chest up, but I think you may be going a little bit overboard. As you initiate the squat, you're really arching back against it. You're staying tight, which is good, but I think you're over-exaggerating that backwards movement. You're bringing, if you just watch your head as you start, your head's going to shoot backwards. Instead, what I would like to see is for you to brace neutral and then just come straight down and straight back up. Because as you arch backwards, you're going to end up getting that posterior pelvic tilt because you're going to have too much arch here. You're going to have that loosening effect. And that loosening effect is actually going to lead for you to lose tightness, for the hips to come up, for the knees to fall, and the chest to come forward. So actually, by starting the rep in the way that you do, you set yourself up to lose tightness in the whole of the squat. So that's what I would advise. Just be a little bit, don't have that head tilt back or jerk back at the start of the lift. Since it's been such a long time and you have been so patient, I will review all of these videos. Deadlift starting position looks good. I think the camera's a little bit off. So again, when you film from the side, this is not a bad angle or anything, but when you film from the side, if you can get the camera directly out, like you're staring down the barrel of a gun and the gun is the bar, that's helpful to see exactly where the shoulders are. However, it looks as though you've got your shoulders right over the bar. The bar leaves the floor. You're holding the weight into yourself well. You've activated your lat. You're trying as best as you can not to have it pull the shoulder forward. And you hold position well. I think your deadlift is very solid. I don't have a lot to say here. You did an excellent job. For those of you who wonder about being patient off the floor, it's a very good patient off the floor pull. There was a little bit of back rounding in this mid back, but I think that's simply due to the strain against the weight for a maximal attempt. I think you did very well. And we'll check out the bench next. I think you've got, I don't know if this is a rubber mat or if this is just a towel. If this is a towel, then I would advise you, unless it's a gym rule and you have to use it to get rid of the towel, that's going to slip around and it will cause you to lose your arch. Yeah, I can see it moving a little. See how this is moving already? That's going to make it more and more difficult. Notice how your arch basically disappears as you start the bench press. So notice how flat you are here. And again, that's because you're on a slick surface. So get rid of the towel, unless that's an absolute rule that they enforce, but that's hurting you a lot. You have to re-arch in the press. Good job straining through. I think you will be able to get in a tighter, better position if you find a way to keep your shoulders more stable. That's the number one thing I want you to focus on in your bench press so that you can hold, let's go back, hold this arch right there. That, I want to see this arch. I don't think your glutes are quite down yet, but I want to see this arch in your bench press throughout the entirety of the lift. I also want to see you pinch your shoulder blades maybe a little bit more together. All right. So, yeah, I appreciate your congratulations. It was quite a while ago. All right, we got 3 doubles from last week's deadlift session with a bit of deficit work. Okay, we'll see what we can find from these. So one of the things that I'm seeing here, I would like to see your shoulders back a little bit more over the bar. I think you're a little bit over the top. Let's get this next one. I'm also going to turn down my sound here real quick. Let's see from the side here. This is awesome, by the way, cleaning right in front of you. That's just awesome. Yeah, I would like to see you pull your shoulders a little bit back more. I'd like to see you sink the hips and really tighten up and set your back before starting to lift. There's a little bit of rounding that occurs in the back right as you start, and that's because you're not fully setting and getting tight before you pull. With 85%, I would expect no form breakdown on that first rep, and yet I'm already starting to see some. Probably the heavier you go, the more your hips will shoot up and the more you're going to be round back deadlifting. So set that back neutral. Take your time, be patient off the floor. You can still be explosive, but be patient, and in your setup, hold that and don't let there be any rounding at all in this portion of your back, and don't let those hips shoot up first. If you're tight, it's the bar that should be moving with the hips, not the hips and then the bar. All right. Yeah, let's check out, definitely see what happens. I'm assuming a hips up, bar goes off the floor a little bit, and then you're not able to finish the rep because there's rounding through the back. Yeah, that's about what I would expect to see based on that lighter work. Let's see here. I'm also assuming this is going to be quick little pop off the floor, very slow through the knees, and then lockout's going to be faster. Yep, that's what you would expect to see. So that's what you can work on. Work on setting up correctly. All right. Thanks for taking time to critique the lifts. No problem. Squat double, that was supposed to be a 10. Move a lot easier than expected. All right, let's take a look. Make that video not private. It may have been not private when you first did it. Sorry for taking so long to get to these. Hey, 3 reps set at about 90, 2 weeks out from the last week. Felt like a 9.5 for everyone. Okay, let's take a look. All right. Decent walkout. You kind of took a pretty big step there. You might shorten your step up just a little bit. Okay, so the main thing is your tightness as you start in the descent. You're breaking at the back too much. You're not being tight enough through your whole torso, and you're letting this weight push you forward a little bit. What I want you to think about is I want you to think about just absolutely mastering and controlling this weight. Do not let that weight push you or move you around at all. You are moving that weight, and you are focusing on moving it up and down in a straight line. You are not going to let that thing pull you forward out of the hole. As you hit the hole, you're relaxing. You're not staying tight through the whole lift. You're having that posterior pelvic tilt. Hips are shooting back first, and then you're using your back to finish the lift. Notice here, hips pop out and your chest falls. But really, what this is your hips are coming out. You've got to strain against that weight, control it. Don't let it round your upper back forward. I think a lot of this is just going to be cueing that mentally. High bar squats or safety squat bar work, if you have access to one, will help train you to maintain that upright torso. Also, if you do pause on the halfway down squats with your low bar, that will also assist. That's where you start to squat normally. You go down halfway, pause for 2 to 3 seconds, and then go down into the hole and back up. Again, focus on staying tight out of the hole. Another thing you might benefit from would be pause squats. Again, that can help train you not to have your hips shoot out. When you do pause squats, you should be focusing on not allowing the hips to go back, but instead, let's go here. Notice your knee angle. So your knee is kind of as far forward as it gets when your hips are here. Notice this torso angle at that's probably, I don't know, that might be a 45-degree angle. When you do a pause squat and you come out of the hole, you're going to want to make sure, sorry, pause this. There we go. Sorry. Here we go. As you come out of the hole, gosh, did it again. There we go. Keep clicking in the screen. This is not a 45-degree angle. This is a much flatter. Notice how your knee has come back. Your hips are at about the same spot. Let's see if I can click right on it. Right. Oh, looks far. This is a very different body position than here. A little further, right there. This portion. So you don't want to be in this position as you come out of your pause squats. Sorry that took so long to click on that. All right. Okay. Got it. Close grip bench. Got it. All right, looks like you're working on your arch. You're keeping your shoulders tucked in. All right, I'd like to see a little bit more tightness as you pull that weight out. So this is a good arch. I would like to see this level of tightness stay throughout the entirety of your lift. You kind of relax a little bit as you bring it out. Also think you may be bringing the weight out too far. Don't bring it out quite this far. Let that weight sit back just a fraction. I'm talking like a half an inch back further. I just think you're starting to support the weight with your front delt. So don't unrack it quite as far. I would like to see a little bit more control. And again, I think you're locking out a little bit too low. Let that, there we go. See, that's the spot on that. This rep right here, I think the weight goes to where it should, which is right here over your face. This is the proper position to hold the weight at the top as opposed to here. Again, you notice that's just like a small difference. Let me go back a little bit for this last rep. It's a small difference, but that half a centimeter can actually make a difference. Let's see here. I'll put this right where the bar rests. And then it goes back about a half an inch more. Basically, as the set goes on, you're maintaining a decent arch, but you're losing a little bit of tightness, but you touch lower and lower and lower on your body as you're doing these. I want you to work on touching the same spot on your chest for every single rep. So that's going to require a little more consistency. I would also like to see a slight pause. So basically go a little bit slower and lock out the weight in this position so that the bar is over your shoulder and not down a little further where you're having to actually kind of hold that weight there using the muscles in your shoulder. I also would like you could probably work on scapular mobility here. Your shoulders are pretty high up. I'd like to see them retracted a little bit further. That may be more of a long-term mobility progression though. The immediate adjustments would be don't bring the weight out so far and touch the same spot on your chest and pause it just for a little bit on each of these reps. All right, and last one. Sending you recent deadlift, supposed to be 95%. Okay, let's take a look. Let this play through once, and then we'll go back to the starting position. Oh, very, very solid pull. Yes, did not look like 95% at all. Looked more like 85%. So as you set yourself in, you set the neutral spine here, which is basically a perfectly neutral spine. You come back and you hit the hip height that you should be at. Your shoulders are over the bar. I do think you might be able to bring this bar just a fraction closer to your shins and really pull it right up next against your shins. But this looks very good as far as a starting position. And as you begin pulling, the weight moves as your hips move. You're keeping your shoulders in. You're not letting them pull over. I think you could have a little bit more tightness in your squashing of the armpit, your packing of the lats, however you want to phrase it. Your neck is tilted up a bit. It doesn't seem to be affecting your spine though, so I'm not. This isn't bad or anything. I just want to see you maintain this head position through the entirety of the lift. I don't want to see any additional flexion. Let me see here. Yeah, you hold that position in your neck the whole time, so that's fine. And as you come up, your hips go up just a tad faster than I would like to see. You get a little bit here. You're a little bit out forward in front of the bar. The reason for that is your hips came up, which pushes your shoulders forward a little bit more in relation to the pull. However, it was a very solid pull. If you bring that weight just a little closer to yourself and get a little bit more upright, that's about the only thing I can say. You maintain a great back angle throughout the entirety of the lift. And yeah, it did not look like 95%, looked more like 85%. I think you're definitely going to be in for a PR, which you've probably already had since it's been so long. It's from November. So, in any case, again, the website to go to is going to be guidedprogramming.boards.net. The homepage you'll have. I think you can actually see this as a guest, and you will go to the Form Assessment Saturday section here, and you'll post in the next thread, which is going to be Form Assessment Saturday 13. I cannot promise that I'll get to this next Saturday, but I will get to them as I can. So put in your posts, and I'll go through as many as I can as I have time. Hope wherever you're at, you're doing well. Blessings.